was just mad. I mean, it was just pure communist theory, and I suddenly realized that actually, I'm not a lefty at all.
Please go check out rebelstoreza.com. Their winter range is now available. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Real Moments. Real Moments are sections from longer interviews done on my channel that I think you guys might find interesting. Your real moment is in. Their heroes are disgraced, their enemies and rivals have emerged triumphant. It's painful and humiliating to watch. Trust me, I know. I was a lefty who joined the ANC Youth League at 19 and loudly disparaged the DA. Oh, you gotta tell us about that.
Well, that was 2006, wasn't it? And yeah, I mean, I'd just come out of school and I'd gone to UCT, and I don't know what else. I mean, I hadn't really gone through any kind of political development in my personal life. And I was at O Week at UCT when you sign up to a million institutions. I tried to sign up to the ANC, I think. Gave them like 70 Rand or something and never heard back from them, which is a pretty good red flag warning sign. And I turned up to some of their meetings and was really disturbed by it.
Oh, really?
And it's such an interesting time of my life because, I come from the suburbs of Johannesburg, from an English liberal background. I went to a private school, and I think, like many young people, at that age, you're probably quite, politically ambitious, but also deeply naive about how the world works, And shortly thereafter, ESCOM collapsed. We had Polokwane. Both were pretty shocking events because it just completely changes your understanding of South Africa. It knocked me right backwards. It's just like, wow, have I completely misinterpreted everything about this country? Then we had the rise of Zilla. I was very impressed with her. I thought she was great. I very quickly went from being sort of like a soft lefty into being quite quite conservative. I sort of started discovering like Margaret Thatcher and sort of libertarian theory and Ayn Rand and so on. And what did it for me is I spent 5 years at UCT in the commerce, humanities and law faculties. And I did a course on race, class and gender in 2008, which was just mad. I mean, it was just pure communist theory. And I suddenly realized that actually, I'm not a lefty at all. And then I spent a good couple of years with Pierre de Force in the UCT law faculty. At one point in 2011, I used to rock up to his lectures with a Helen Zille poster and a book of Margaret Thatcher quotations and just heckle him from the back row. So that's the sort of guy I was. I did a full 180. I went from being like a soft lefty in first year to being, and many of my university colleagues will vouch for this, but for being a pretty hardcore.
While I have you here, why don't you please go down in the description below and check out Support My Channel, where you can support me for as little as 40 Rand a month. And also you get some perks, but you gotta use the Quicket link to get access to these perks. Again, links in the description below. And don't forget, subscribing is always free.
DA supporting sort of libertarian, and then that's pretty much where I've stayed ever since. I don't think my views have changed in 10 years, except they've got a little bit harder. So anyway, that's where I come from. And so I remember leaving UCT with a sort of real contempt for the South African left, if I can put it that way. I found a lot of their stuff was just dishonest. I mean, because I come from a pretty left-wing point of departure, and as I came into contact with reality, suddenly I realized this is bullshit. And it's probably bullshit everywhere in the world, but particularly in South Africa, And I just developed huge admiration for Helen Zille and Tony Leon, who both had the insight and the courage the insight to understand South Africa, and then the courage to actually stand up against political correctness and against the tide of history. And they won Cape Town, won the Western Cape, and did a great job in government. And I actually went and worked for Helen Zille for a couple of months. And so that's where I came from. And I always sort of look back on my time at UCT, and I kept thinking to myself, how are these people still supporting the same failed ideologies after 20, 30 years of ANC governance? I mean, I moved. Why have they not moved? And then in 2015, we had fallism, and it just I was absolutely staggered that that all these left-wing Marxist sort of professors at UCT were still, cheering on their own destruction. And Fallism was great because it really exposed the South African left. They all went in for it. They all supported it. They all cheered it on. And then 6 months later, they had people burning down their offices, and Max Price is still, cheering them on. And so that brings me to my tweet, because I occasionally use Twitter as my therapist, where I vent about, these sorts of things. And Nick Dawes, I think, was criticizing Ernst Roots, and I just said, what, the guy's entitled to speak on the public stage internationally. He's entitled to do that. Don't try and cancel the guy. I mean, if you want to disagree with him, disagree with him. But that's not how the left argues. They immediately try to cancel you through ad hominem attacks on your character and your political background. Okay, so Ernst Roots is Afrikaans, and he's a white Afrikaner complaining about things that affect farmers in South Africa. He's as entitled to a public platform as anybody else. And so I just got a bit tired with lefty journalists, really, and I went and tweeted that, and I was astonished to see that I wasn't the only person who felt that way. And I think that over the last 10 years, a lot of people have been on the same journey as me. We all started off trying to be quite sympathetic or pro sort of African nationalism or pro progressive ideas, and suddenly realized these ideas are counterproductive, and rapidly running out of patience with people who still try to peddle the snake oil of African nationalism and socialism, and who basically sneer at those people who have bravely and courageously and selflessly dedicated their careers to trying to save South Africa and trying to help people who deserve a lot more sympathy than they're getting.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was your real moment. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please feel free to share it with your friends, family, or whoever you think might find it interesting. Give the video a like. It goes a long way to supporting the channel and helping it grow. And this is your second reminder to please subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. And please go check out the Telegram channel. It's a channel, not a group. You just get notified of all the upcoming uploads and live streams on this channel. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.